What's so special at Wager Talk that only happens twice per year? It's the Wager Talk 199 30-day all access special. Why is this 199 special even bigger? This 199 special starts Sunday, August 15th throughout Monday, September 13th. But by signing up now, you'll receive every play through Sunday, August 15th as a free bonus. Does this 199 package include football? Yes, of course it does. As with every all access package, you receive every play that your favorite capper releases. That includes the NFL preseason, college football through week 2, NFL week 1, MLB action, plus any CFL, KBO, soccer, UFC, or golf that your favorite handicapper releases. Every play, every sport, all for 30 days and all for just $1.99. If you have never tried a 30-day all-access package at under $7 per day, including football, what are you waiting for?
All right, guys, welcome in and happy Wednesday to you here. Time for another edition here of First Pitch, powered by WagerTalk.com. I'm Joe Raineri, in for Drew Martin here today, getting a little R&R before the craziness of football begins. But we got plenty of baseball on our mind here, and we've got the customary 4 games we're going to break down, plus a couple of best bets around the horn here as we welcome in today's panel. Mr. Matt Josephs, mid-major Matt, sportsmemo.com, as well as the legend, Mr. Tony Finn, in the house here today. Gentlemen, welcome in as we've got some little afternoon baseball coming up, including the first game we're going to talk about here between the Rockies and the Padres. But, Matt, let me come to you first, my friend. What's been going on the baseball and prop world for you lately?
Things are going well. Went 3-2 yesterday on the K props on a 60% run almost there. Tough loss in the basket play. I hope he's okay. I saw an update on him, and it looks like he's going to be okay. Lost Adam Wainwright yesterday, which was a bit frustrating because I think this Brewers trend is a bit false. But we hit the under on Eric Fetty. The Blue Jays are just not striking out. We hit the over on Marcus Stroman. The Giants are striking out. And we hit the under on Tyler Anderson, who was pitching really well, but only went 6 innings yesterday. So all in all, good trend continuing for me on the K-props.
All right, good stuff there. And Mr. Finn, last night, my man, we were on the show yesterday with you. How did it all go for you last night? What do you got tonight at WagerTalk.com?
We had a decent night last night. Went 2-1 overall. Hit an afternoon total in Yankee Stadium on an over with Jerry Meals behind the plate. Bread Box, they call him Meals. And I went ahead and supported Boston in the second game and failed there, but caught the my best bet on the show was the Brewers, -1.5. They win 2-0. It was also a play of mine on the card for my client. So 2-1 overall. Today, 2 plays, one early, a twilight afternoon affair, and then a standard Eastern time, 7 p.m. start in the American League.
All right, so plenty of opportunities, guys, to make it a profitable Wednesday here in the MLB, but let's dive into it here and get one of those early games broken down for you. And we'll take a look at the Padres and the Rockies. Not going well for the Padres as of late, but the newly acquired Jake Arrieta looking to turn things around for them here. I'm looking probably around the 145 mark. Seems to be a good consensus here. -145, +130 the other way. The total is not high enough. I don't know if they can actually put that there, but I'm seeing 14s now, guys, from an opening of 13. So talk to me here, Matt Josephs, coming to you. Total, side, Arrieta, first 5, K-prop. How you approaching this one?
I mean, the insanity is the first 5's total is 8, and we never see this. And it may not be enough. And here's the even funnier part: like the total bases and the hits props that usually have like over a half being plus money, it's now everything is at 1.5. Like they're expecting an absolute explosion this game today, and we can kind of see why. Jake Arrieta just pitched earlier this month in Colorado, gave up 4 runs and 9 hits in 4 innings. 2 strikeouts for Jake Arrieta in that one. First time through the order, teams are hitting 317. Second time, 350. So that's assuming he even gets to a third time and everything. And then Chichi Gonzalez coming off of an injury. He's not very good when he's healthy. He's seen San Diego a couple of times this year. He has 8 strikeouts in 12 innings, 333 batting average the first time through the order. I mean, all this stuff here points to a lot of offense. I agree with it. The trend that comes into play here, especially with the K-props, 52 of 61 starting pitchers, the opposition, have had 5 strikeouts or less in Coors Field. I took under 3.5 on Jake Arrieta for this one. I just don't expect him to be around early, and I don't think he's the answer, so I'm kind of fading Arrieta as much as possible.
All right. Certainly hasn't gone well for him this year for sure, but this is his first start in a Padres uniform, so change of scenery might do Arrieta some good, Tony Finn, or if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck here, Finn. What are we looking at here in this game?
That's so politically correct. That's such a good way to put that because, as you know, I would have worded that a little bit differently. And you're absolutely positively correct. I mean, my esteemed colleague here, mid-major Matt, spoke to Arrieta in one of his starts. I mean, after an embarrassing showing against the Brewers, Arrieta, I think was 8 runs, 11 hits, a 10-0 loss. The team finally puts him on unconditional waivers. A former Cy Young Award winner, and how desperate, guys. I mean, this could be a whole nother program, but how desperate, how bad is it for the Padres pitching staff right now that they couldn't find someone, a bullpen game or something to the degree that they had to add Arrieta to their staff while they're holding one of the second wild card spot. There's really no real one word or one sentence to define Arrieta and who he is right now. He doesn't miss bats. When he throws strikes, they barrel it up, yada, yada, yada. Chichi Gonzalez. It was funny when Matt was saying the first half's an 8. I got a visit this morning from Las Vegas Chris. Good old Las Vegas Chris came by about 5:30 a.m. And his typical time he comes by and wanted to chat a little bit about football. And somehow we got on this game. That it's a 14. Tony, it's a 14. I said, well, I can't play over a 14, but I might agree with you, Joe. It still might not be enough. And an 8 for the first half, it's one of those. It's just craziness. And the thing is that David Rackley is the umpire today behind the dish, and Rackley's pitcher friendly. He has a big K zone. It doesn't mean a whole lot in Colorado, or it hasn't in past by adding or defining a game or supporting one side or the other, or one north or south of the total by an umpire. I'm not anywhere near this game, but if I was, I'm on one of my favorite golfers of all time, and that's Chichi Rodriguez, Chichi Gonzalez, yep. Chichi Rodriguez. I'm on Chichi and the Rockies.
Yep. Yeah, neither one of those. It could be like one of those Saturday morning slow pitch softball scores there before it's all said and done here. So that's coming up 3:30 in the afternoon, guys. That's Brewers taking on the Padres, who would do anything for a win right now. And we'll move on. Game number 2 for us here today we're going to talk about is the St. Louis Cardinals at home, Busch Stadium, game number 2 of their series against the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Cards had a nice little 6-game winning streak going on before they lost 2-0 last night to Burns and the Brewers. Keeping in mind, of course, that those 6 wins came against teams like, the Pirates and the Royals. It appears that the Brewers are in a different class. Now they got to get Freddie Peralta. However, saving grace for the Cards is they do have their young ace, Jack Flaherty, back on the mound in this one. This will be his second start since coming off the IL here. I'm seeing -120, -118 right now for Milwaukee. I'm seeing 7s pretty much solid across the board. So not a whole lot of movement here, mid-major, Matt. But I don't know. Is Flaherty, does he have enough here? Do you trust him to get the job done at home?
I mean, I would like to think so, but I don't trust the Cardinals lineup. I mean, how many reliable hitters are there in this Cardinals lineup? It's funny because we're this deep into a season, and these pitchers have already faced their opponent only once. Peralta saw them back in May, held them to 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk in 7 innings. Flaherty also saw him in May, but also because he was hurt. 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. So you would think maybe a first 5 under here. I never like 3.5s. There's such small margin for error when it comes to a 3.5 because an error and a 2-run bomb, and already you're halfway there. These two guys are really good, though. First time through the order for Peralta, 133. Second time, 140. Flaherty, first time through the order, 178 batting average, 159 the second time. The one thing I'll point out here with regards to K-prop trends, 13 of the last 14 starting pitchers to have faced Milwaukee have had 5 strikeouts or less. Now, yesterday, as I said, I tried to beat it with Adam Wainwright. He only had 4 strikeouts. Milwaukee, during that stretch, has seen, as you mentioned, the Pirates and the Rockies and these other bad pitching teams. So I thought it was kind of a fluke. Well, I'm not going to get in front of that trend once again. Not necessarily recommending the under for Flaherty because we know how good he is as a starter. But I would not go to the over here because the Brewers right now are making more contact than they usually do. Small lean to the first 5 under, but once again, I hate 3.5s. Maybe you can find an alternate 4. That's a reasonable price juice, and then I'd feel a little bit more comfortable.
So last night, Burns, 2 hits and 6 innings there, Tony. Finn held this lineup down, which Matt said is a little inconsistent here, not a lot to trust on that lineup, and it's not going to get any easier here tonight either with Peralta, who's quietly been one of the most dominant pitchers in the National League here. So the number's at 7. It's staying at 7. What do you think here? How do you approach this? Total, side, which way are you looking?
Listen, I'm not on this game. I considered it again. And now that we're talking, I'm certain that I will reconsider it maybe once more. But my new nickname for Freddie Peralta is the GOAT. It's the greatest of all time. Yeah. I mean, the Dodgers might have the best pitching staff overall in baseball, but when it comes to Woodruff and Burns and Peralta, that's a pretty good postseason trio right there. Considering, Peralta is, and I'm pulling up. I didn't write it down very much, but his last start was pedestrian. Really, I mean, he goes 5.1, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. He walked 2, and he struck out 8. This is a guy that has not walked more than 2 since early July, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact is that every one of his underlying peripherals, 154 to 49 K to BB rate, I think, or at least was last time I did my notes on him. It doesn't matter what he does from this point forward. Those numbers are astounding. His K rate, his 3.12 FIP is 5th or something in the league behind Burns, who's number 1, has the best FIP or xFIP. His batting, his BABIP is Peralta's BABIP is 174, unsustainable. Well, he sustained it for almost 3/4 of the season. What he's done is crazy good, and he gets overshadowed a little bit by Woodruff, by Burns, and for good reason. He still has a lot to prove, as this whole trio does. But for the most part, when Flaherty is your guy that you're being so cautious with, when Flaherty, a 25-year-old Flaherty, who granted, give him his due, he's been good. When he's the guy that you're protecting like he's gold, which is what St. Louis is doing, pitch counts, easing him back in from the injury, and when you were counting on Nico, guys that were fantastic in the Korean League, but didn't really translate over to the Major League Baseball. It doesn't speak a lot. 14 hits yesterday for these Brewers. 14 hits, only 2 runs. If Wainwright hadn't been so good this year and been so good at getting out of those kind of jams, he wouldn't have the numbers he has date back to 2014 when he had Cy Young, when he was 3rd in Cy Young voting. It's been that good for him. But this is too much. This is too much for St. Louis. As Matt said, this lineup is pedestrian. Outside of Goldie and Arenado, that's all you have to do is be careful with those 2, and you're a winner. I like Milwaukee. I think you're safe to play the 1.5 here at plus money and feel good about it.
All right, there you go. Cards taking on the Brewers, and we'll head over to the Bronx here now. Let's take a look at the Yankees and the Red Sox. Sweep yesterday by the Yanks, and today they send Heaney to the mound, taking on Pivetta for Boston, who really just at this point is like they'll do anything in order to grab a W, especially in this spot. The Red Sox, prior to yesterday, pretty much dominated the Yankees all season long here. Tell me, Matt, are the Yankees evening things out here? Are they the ones that beat in this matchup?
Well, not with home run Heaney on the mound. I can't back him. It was literally one of the worst acquisitions you can make for that ballpark because all he does is give up fly balls and home runs. And the Yankee fans are already ready for him to leave town, and he's barely been there. And heck, one of his starts was in Iowa, and I think a ball was hit to New York from Iowa in that start. So the one thing I caution here is I like the Red Sox team total over here. The caution here is I want to make sure the Red Sox lineup, when it comes out, that the big three are still in there because the big three played in both games yesterday. And we may see a little bit of alteration to the lineup because of the doubleheader yesterday. I expect Bogarts and Martinez and those guys to all be in the lineup again because of how important this game is. But you just want to make sure before you lock in something that's lineup dependent. So some other things real quick. Bogarts is 7 for 13 with a homer against Heaney in his career. So if you do DFS, I'd put Bogarts in there. JD Martinez, 3 of 6 with 2 homers in his career. And then you look at Pivetta. I mean, as a Phillies guy, Pivetta was okay for us. And then he goes over to Boston. He's like a mixed bag here. I expect him to kind of do okay against the Yankees. He might get a couple of strikeouts here against this strikeout-prone lineup. But I'm not a huge Pivetta guy. I would lean to the over as well, besides the Red Sox team total over. But once again, I need to make sure that both lineups have their big guns in there after some of the times yesterday, all those guys played in both games. So like the Red Sox team total over, small lean to the over for the game, but make sure both lineups are intact because of the doubleheader yesterday.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, hard time him limiting that hard contact here. What has it been? 8 home runs over his last 15 innings. So not good for Heaney, but Yankees can hit the long ball as well as Boston. So maybe it's just a totals game here, Tony Finn. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I agree. Listen, Matt outlined what Haney's numbers are against the potential lineup that Boston can throw at him. It's not overwhelming. I mean, 320, I think, lifetime batting average against the possible bats that would be against him. On the 3 home runs, as he explained. But here's the deal. I don't know whether they're going to. The problem with a doubleheader is when you have a doubleheader the following day, there's always a possibility that the substitute or the alternate umpire will step in and be behind the plate. You got 2 options, really, or 3, should I say? It could be Carlos Torres, it could be Junior Valentine, or it could be the alternate. But all 3, I don't know who the alternate is in this situation, but both Torres and Valentine are hitter friendly, and I'm with mid-major here. If I'm going to be on this game, I'm going to be on the over. I'd like to know that all the big sticks are going to be in there, but even if we're missing one stick, maybe from each side, I'm still leaning over. They showed some good adjustments yesterday. You saw Stanton look stupid on one pitch, and the next pitch hits 440 feet. So if I'm anywhere near this game, it's over the total of 10.
All right, yep, over or not there in that spot, which will take us to our final matchup here before we get to some best bets. Let's talk about the Astros, guys, on the road taking on the Royals here. And you're looking at Zach Greinke taking on Singer in this one. The question is, who do you trust? Good teams usually find ways to beat bad teams, no matter who is pitching here at this point. So you got to think that, right? This is all about the Astros, Matt, isn't it? I mean, can you even look towards the Royals at this point?
Well, I'll say this. My Royals team total over, which was on life support, is appreciating the fact that they've shown up in this series, so that's good. Still got a long way to go on that one. But, Brady Singer here is the second start off of an IL stint. He got rocked by the Yankees last time out. I don't know how deep he's going to go. And that bullpen by the Royals is very inconsistent. That's the reason why I'm losing my win total overs, because their bullpen blew a ton of games a couple of months ago, and they just haven't recovered. The one thing in his favor is that none of the Astros hitters have seen him before, so they can't, ring up the old trash cans or the buzzers for this game. They got to at least learn the guy a little bit before they start cheating. Singer's not as strong at home, 5.53 ERA and 12 home starts, so that's a bit of a concern. He's decent the first time, 265 batting average, 331 the second time, so this almost presents a live betting opportunity. First looks for the Astros, maybe they struggle a little bit, and then that second time around, you get in on the Astros. Maybe they're down 1-0. I never like getting involved with Greinke. He's one of these guys who's a vet. He's a cagey vet. I don't know if he slept on the wrong side of the bed and he's telling people what pitches he's throwing, or he's just half-assing it out there. He is really good on the road, 6-0 with a 2.41 ERA and 11 road starts. So he's a guy you want to trust, but I think this is the perfect live betting situation. Maybe the Astros struggled the first time through. Maybe around the fourth inning or so, you go jump in on the Astros money line or something like that, because then you're getting the back end of Singer and the Royals bullpen here. So I'm looking live bet here in the middle innings or so on the Astros.
Yeah, Tony, it's another one of these situations where recent performance for Singer, and this, Yankees and Orioles in just 5 2/3 innings, 12 earned runs, 18 hits. It has not been good. It's been a little batting practice-esque here for Singer, so no doubt Houston's going to be able to get theirs in this game, aren't they?
Yes. The last two games for Houston have been uncharacteristic in truth, really. And here's the situation. This is a lineup that's typically pretty good against pitchers they haven't seen, young pitchers that are coming up, maybe replacement pitchers for injuries or add-ons in when a team's playing 5 games in 4 days, maybe they have a doubleheader. They're typically a team that you can trust. If they weren't trustworthy, they haven't been. They haven't produced the last 2 days. But in this situation, I'm going to trust Greinke. And not that I'm all over this game, not that I'm pushing mortgage money across the sportsbook counter, but I'm going to trust Greinke. He was really good in his last start. And here's the deal: the lineup, the Royals can throw at Greinke. Actually, have hit him pretty good. They're hitting over 330, I think 333, something in that area when I looked at it this morning. And 2 home runs and 50 at bats. I think it's not, the sample size is not huge. However, 12 strikeouts, about 20% strikeout rate for Greinke, which is pretty big. I mean, if he can do that tonight, I think he's a winner by far. He just doesn't miss a whole lot a lot of bats as he used to. And but no walks, not one single walk. Has any of these guys, whether it be Alberto or Benintendi or Dozier or Dyson, Lopez, Merrifield, Minor, not one walk. And in this situation, in a game that I think the Astros have to take a big, deep breath of relief and say, wow, we have played poor, and Oakland's played just as bad. They still hold that 1.5, 2.5 game lead. I don't know exactly what it is, in that West, AL West. And I think they get to the Royals tonight, but I'm not confident enough to be releasing it to the clients or pushing money. So that's just my lean.
Always been a problem with Dusty Baker teams playing down to the level of the competition. So it's always driven me crazy about him. But they got to get back on track here tonight. 8:10 Eastern time. First pitch, Greinke versus Singer tonight in that matchup. So now we turn to some best bets here, guys. And before we do, of course, want to remind you that plays are locked and loaded. You heard Tony Finn. You can head over to his page at WagerTalk.com, as well as Mid-Major Matt at SportsMemo.com. Go grab those plays here. Plenty of baseball, plenty of ways to make it a profitable Wednesday on the diamond. And Matt, we'll come to you here. You're up first for the best bet today. Where are you looking?
All right, so I'm doing really well in strikeout props this year. 28 games over 500, almost a 60% run here on the strikeout props. And today I'm going to the Mets pitcher, Tyler McGill, over 4.5 strikeouts against the Giants. The Giants are 4th in K rate against right-handed pitchers this season. 15 of the last 18 right-handed starting pitchers to have faced the Giants have gone over this number. Had an easy winner yesterday on Stroman, who had 9 strikeouts. His number was 4.5. And McGill has gone over this number in 7 of his last 10 starts. I don't mind the umpire in this one. I just think the Giants struggle with right-handed pitchers, and it's a very reasonable number at 4.5. So give me the over for Tyler McGill.
All right, going over for Tyler McGill here tonight in K's. How about it, Finn? Where are you looking tonight?
Let's go to Nationals Park and talk about this. Both teams that are. I mean, we expected Washington to struggle. They were sellers at the deadline. It wasn't the case for the Blue Jays, but they're 4-6 across their last 10. The conditions are pretty good tonight for a play to the under. And while I listened to Matt, and Matt's absolutely correct, he said earlier when he was talking about how his history and how his performance had been the last few days, that Toronto wasn't striking out much. Well, they face a kid they have never seen. Not one bat, not one stick, not one player has seen this kid, Joe Gray, who's been pretty good for Washington. He's one of the top prospects in baseball, young prospects. You get a twilight game, which offers there's some distractions, some eyes distractions for some players in twilight games at Nationals Park. You got some shadows. Depends on the sun. Depends on whether it's cloudy. It may be cloudy tonight because there's a 30% chance of rain. But the umpire, Lance Barksdale's a professional. He's a pro of MLB wars, been through them. Behind the plate, he is not just pitcher friendly, but he's the top 25% in most important categories that I gauge and track. Berrios coming off a bad start, 6 runs, 4 walks, the worst start of the year, the most runs he's given up all year. In fact, he's given up 3 runs or less in 16 to 23 starts, and all of them have been 5 innings or more, so they're not classified as qualities. But listen, Berrios is slashing. The slashing 098, 127, 148 with an OPS of 275 versus all of the national players' sticks. I like under 9 here at Nationals Park today with Young, Gray, and some people consider a potential ace in Berrios.
All right, there you go, guys. I got to see what the alternate line is. Are they giving 6.5 at Tampa, Baltimore? I'm just asking for a friend because I'm fairly certain they're already up 8-0 and they haven't even started the game yet. But there you go, guys. Just a recap. Let's take a look one more time here at what the guys are looking at. Matt Josephs likes McGill over K-prop 4.5. Tony says, give me under tonight with the Jays and the Nats. And don't forget, guys, best bets locked and loaded with Matt at sportsmemo.com. And Tony Finn, head over to WagerTalk.com and catch his plays. And do yourself a favor, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Do us a favor and come back and join us again tomorrow. First pitch will continue as we continue to break down the MLB heading right up until, of course, September. We got playoffs. We got all sorts of fun stuff still to happen. And on behalf of Mid-Major Matt at sportsmemo.com and Tony Finn at WagerTalk.com, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. And again, come back and join us tomorrow for another edition of First Pitch. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you then.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.